Right, hey everyone, hope you are all good. So I'm going to be going through a bit of a topic here of common sort of GI complaints and the difference between like sort of low food maps and high food maps basically as well. So quite a common thing that happens to a lot of people is getting like sort of gas or bloating that tends to happen, or even constipation is quite common as well. So there's a few things I'm going to cover here. So first of all, we'll go with gas and bloat. So there's the main thing here is looking at what types of stuff you are intaking as well, and what you are doing that may be causing gas or bloating. So some upper GI sort of related stuff would be, like in your sort of like your stomach up to your esophagus, that type of area. So that would be, if you're looking at, you may have like reduced carbohydrates drinks, for instance. If you drink a lot of like sugary-free drinks, like carbohydrates, like Monsters, the Ultra Monsters, Pepsi Max, Coke Zero, all that type of stuff. Especially if you are on like a diet or a prep, then you tend to drink more of these to kind of, suppress appetite. But obviously, if you drink too much, that can cause some upper GI issues, basically. So another thing that can happen is we chew gum quite a lot. Which is another thing to kind of trick the mind that we're eating something, so therefore it stuns hunger a little bit more when you're mainly in a prep. And sometimes we just eat our food too quick, so you got to eat slower, basically. So with these types of issues, right, we want to be basically keeping the GI as healthy as possible, so your gut health, because your gut health is going to be the main reason why you drop weight or you even gain body weight as well. Because if you're not processing those nutrients correctly, then you're just going to have, a lot of pain, discomfort, issues, and you're not utilizing the food sources correctly, basically. Especially if you're in a prep and you're constipated, then you're not obviously, flushing out your stool movements and stuff like that on a consistent basis, and then you are going to hold more weight, basically, and be understanding why is my weight not going down or something like that, where it could be as simple as your gut health, for instance. So if we go back to gas and bloating, so another area here is looking at the lower GI. So this comes down to your intestines, where basically the stool movement goes. So if you do get some discomfort there or anything like that with gas or bloating, tends to be looking at like the animal proteins that you're intaking, and then having a look at the FOD map for food. So having a look at maybe reducing from your high food maps to low food maps would be a good source basically there, which we'll cover through that in a bit as well. Sugar alcohols and contest prep. So sugar alcohols tend to be from like those skinny food sources or very, very low 0 calorie sugar type sources. They're filled with sugar alcohols, and they tend to always fuck up a lot of people's digestion. And I've had this before with a previous client on prep, and she used to have them loads back in the time, but then when she did a contest prep, she got constipated, bloating quite a lot of gas, and she wouldn't pinpoint it down to the skinny food syrups, but they do, that your body will adapt quite a lot. So what was fine in the past may not be fine, now or in the future. Like your body will adapt to things, and it will respond in certain scenarios. So taking away like sugar alcohols would be like a key one to look at realistically, and go for more like normal sources, like like 50% low sugar ketchup or something like that. Having a look at then also like your steps and walking in between meals, because tends to what we do is we eat a meal and we just sit there, do fuck all. We'll sit on our sofa or something like that, or sit at work on the office, or we'll eat a big meal. Like we've probably all done it. You've had a massive takeaway, and then what do? You go lie down in bed, and then you feel very gassed, very bloated, don't you? So we all do it. So what I would always suggest is eat a meal, go do like 2,000 steps, 1,000 steps, something like that, just to kind of help with that digestion moving through your stomach, basically. Now, if you've got constipation, we won't also go into diarrhea for today's video. We'll go into the main two ones. Diarrhea is not really one that does prop up too much. It's one that does every now and again, which is quite simple to kind of figure out. Constipation. So now for females, tends to be down to your menstrual cycle. It can be down to what types of contraception you are on as well. Dieting will normally tend to do that as well, with lack of fiber and stuff like that, so fiber restrictions. Dehydration, very, very common one with a lot of people not drinking enough water to be able to allow that nutrient transportation to go around the body, is a very, very key one as well. Eye intake tends to be quite low as well if you're dieting as well, and antidepressants. So a lot of the medications out there as well will have side effects of, like causing constipation or things like that, basically, or weight gain, for instance. So I think to kind of fix this, what I would always say is adequate fiber and fluids are the basics. So if you should be having around about sort of like 14 grams per 1,000 calories is what we kind of say is a rule of thumb. So, Maths off the top of my head, if you're a female eating 2,000 calories, you should be roughly around about sort of like 20 to 25 to 28 max of fiber to kind of help with binding of the stool movements and able to like keep that passing basically. But if you have on the other side of things, you can have a look at a Bristol stool chart online. So if you have a type 1, which is very, very solid, and they're like small round pebbles, if you do have that, then the chances are you may have too much fiber that your body is responding to and is binding that stool movement too much, and you may be very dehydrated and it's not enabling to soften it up basically. So a key one to fix with that one as well is not going straight to laxative, because if you go to a laxative, you will just get diarrhea basically, and it's very, very harsh on your gut health. So what I would always suggest to do is get magnesium citrate. That's a stool softener. It's not as harsh, and it will help with moving that up. But what I'd always look at first is look at the basics first. Look at your fluid, look at your fiber. Get those fixed first. If nothing changes, have a look at the other areas. Like for female, are you on your menstrual cycle? Are you taking certain contraception or any other supplementation that you may be taking? And then get that fixed first. In terms of sort of like water, so this is an American conversion, but it's 0.75 to 1 ounce per pound of body weight. So I would most females will be around about sort of like 2.5, 3 liters of fluid per day. Males can be somewhere between 5, 6 upwards, depending on obviously how much muscle mass you have and how much body weight you have as well. So I'll pause this. We're going to go on to the low food map. Right, so on the food map, so this is an area, right? So if you get certain symptoms with, constipation or gas or bloating after a certain type of meal, you can kind of pinpoint this, because as soon as you eat a meal, you will tend to find you'll get bloating or gas pretty quick. Normally bloating is the first one you'll see as a sign of symptom. So what you'd want to have a look at is having a look at that specific meal and having a look at what type of food you have in that specific meal basically. And you might want to just do a couple of changes to some low food map alternatives. So a key one, for instance, for for vegetables, right? With what a lot of people tend to find is, it's not actually on this list, but things like broccoli is quite a high one that normally causes a lot of bloating or digestion issues. So removing broccoli and going for something like a little bit more low food map, so like peppers, cucumbers, lettuces, potatoes, zucchinis, aubergines, that type of stuff, green beans, tends to help quite a lot in those types of areas. So you can obviously go back to this video, pause this, screenshot this as much as you like, but for clients of ours anyway, that if you have issues or occurrence or anything like that, we will obviously work that with you in terms of like your meal, pinpoint where the issue are, and then what you maybe want to swap it out for based off your preferences and stuff like that. So, but it tends to be, a lot of the symptoms tend to come from carbohydrate type stuff or dairy type products. Very rare I've seen it come from protein sources, but it's not to say it does not happen, because it does happen. But it tends to come from more of your red meats that does happen. So we try to always go with more like the lean meats, like chicken, turkey, whitefish or something like that. Or for vegetarian, vegan, you look at more like, eggs, whey proteins. You've got then obviously for vegans, vegan proteins, chickpeas, beans, all that type of stuff basically. So there's loads of little things to look at. So obviously it's quite hard to find when you're looking at yourself what ones to pinpoint, but what we would do normally, right, if you do get bloating, is look at that meal, maybe swap one item out. So let's swap the protein first, eat it again maybe the next day with the swap of the chicken. So let's say if you bloat on red meat, right, swap it over to chicken. Did you bloat? Yes. Okay, we know it wasn't the red meat then. Okay, let's now put in the red meat back, but let's now swap out the carbohydrate source. So swap out the carbohydrate source. Did you bloat? No. Okay, so we know it was that carbohydrate source. So we would remove that fully out of your plan, and we would only go with a low food map option that may work a lot more better for you, because again, internally, gut health is the one that we want to keep moving, because that's going to utilize the digestion of your nutrients to be efficient and stuff like that, and it will to be able to pass stool movements and stuff like that. So gut health is a very, very major thing to keep in good health basically as well. So but yeah, that's going to wrap up this video for this one. So again, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, obviously do drop me a message around anything related on this, or even if you have further questions as well, just drop us a WhatsApp. We'll be running through some more videos as well, so if you have any suggestions on videos that you'd like to see, let me know and I'll get some more filmed up.